Story 1. I can only speak for myself. Other men will doubtless have different desires. For me, it is two things: to be listened to and truly heard, not just tolerated. To know that people value my presence and my contributions. To be desired truly and physically, and not be treated as if intimacy is a favor for me. If that is all it is, I would rather not have it at all. Story 2. Honestly, to feel deeply wanted, like I am enough, but like someone actually sees me, desires me fully, and does not judge. I do not always admit that because it feels too vulnerable sometimes. Story 3. I rarely ask for hugs, but I wish I could hug more. I love hugs so much that I remember the last 3 I shared, and 2 of those were months ago. Story 4. Let me put it this way. Around 10 years ago, a man at a local market complimented me on my appearance, clearly looking to flirt. I am straight, but I still remember that, and it has been a decade. That's how rarely we receive compliments. It has not happened since. It is unfortunate. Please tell us we look nice. It might be the only time anyone has ever said it to us. Story 5. Just hold my hand for a minute. Look me in the eyes. Tell me it is okay. I have done enough, we are fine. Then I can raise my head up and continue for miles. Story 6. To have our feelings validated rather than belittled, even when those feelings upset the women in our lives. All too often when a man tries to share his displeasure, sadness, frustration, or other negative emotions with women, especially if a woman is the source, he is told it is not a big deal, that it is a personal problem, or to man up. Story 7. For me, it is to be desired. A passionate love to be desired and wanted by a significant other would mean the world to me. Story 8. To play a background stormtrooper or clone trooper in an upcoming movie. I want to be the equivalent of that one trooper who ran up on a spider droid and be badass. Nobody has to know it was me who played it. It's enough for me to know. Edit. Maybe I am too much of a geek or too young to have the first thing to come to my mind be sincere compliments. Story 9. Honestly, I think many men want the same things everyone does: connection, appreciation, and to feel understood. However, they often do not admit it because of social pressure to always be strong or in control. Sometimes they just want someone to really listen without trying to fix everything immediately. What do you think? Story 10. I can really only speak for myself, but 1. To feel wanted and desired. 2. To feel like I have a purpose, a reason for continuing on, not just for others' sake. 3. Early retirement so I can actually live without having to worry about money or anything like that. Sadly, that does not seem feasible since I am struggling to find a job even after graduating college. Story 11. To be loved without conditions. To feel chosen, not just needed. To be heard, not just told to man up. Story 12. Probably the worst thing for men is that when we fall, we need to get back up. Then we fall again. Sometimes, just sometimes, we can't get up. There is nobody there to pick us up. Not friends, not parents, not teachers. You're a man, you can get up yourself. As a woman, there is a crowd: men, mom, best friend, more. Everyone is a shoulder to cry on, or they will fix it for you. As a man, good luck. Sometimes, I just wish somebody would take some load off my shoulders. Story 13. A nice big long hug with someone who cares about me until I burst into tears sounds amazing right now. Who am I kidding? I am all I have. I guess I will just keep going and hope for the best because I cannot give up. Story 14. Alright, real talk. They want to feel needed. Not in a clingy way, but in a you matter, you make a difference kind of way. They want to feel respected, like their effort means something. Even if they don't show it, they notice when someone believes in them. That stuff hits. Simple as that. Story 15. I am going to say something about women that I genuinely do not think many of them persevere with when it comes to men. It is something they give up on after the first hurdle. Women do not realize the power they have in lifting a man up and strengthening him. I have heard many stories of women being turned off and emotionally distancing themselves once a man opens up. Most of the time, this leads to them eventually breaking up. Often, it is due to conscious or subconscious perception of weakness. At least, that appears to be the elephant in the room, something men have to essentially accept, no matter how existentially painful that is. What a lot of these women do not realize is that men can feel down, insecure, and lacking confidence. All it takes is a sincere, understanding conversation and some encouragement in a way that only a woman they care about can offer. Then they are back to full strength, sometimes even more confident than before. That confidence endures for a long time. Not all men need constant reassurance. Personally, all I need is the person who is attracted to me to snap me out of it, and I am back to being the person she fell for in the first place. In my experience, many women miss out on good men because they make assumptions about a man's entire identity after one wobble. Story 16. There is a larger variety of acceptable fashion options. All I have are fun ties and fun socks. Everything else unique attracts looks, comments, and judgment. Story 17. I just want a good cry. And maybe an hour or two where the rest of the family is happily engaged in something I am not expected to join, so I can relax without worrying that I am leaving them lonely or that they will resent me for not being productive around the house. Story 18. As a man, I love it when women approach me with interest or even ask me on a date. It is quite rare for women to take the initiative because, despite society's efforts to reject traditional gender roles, it seems we continue to hold on to the idea that the man must always be the one to approach the woman first. Story 19. Specifically when in a loving and preferably long-term relationship, I want to be romanced. While I love and very much enjoy the intimate moments, intimacy is not the same as romance. Many seem to think it is enough for men to just have intimacy and be happy about it. I want to be wooed too. The best way is to do something considered romantic but also a little bit playful by today's standards, like writing me a poem comparing me to a summer's day, sing me a song, take me on a date, hold a boombox outside my bedroom window playing our song, buy me flowers, try to pick me up and carry me across the threshold to our home. Something fun that we can laugh about and remember, but is undeniably sweet and romantic. No one partner should be solely responsible for keeping the romance alive. While intimacy can be part of it, it should not be the only part you contribute. Story 20. To be forgotten. I realized as a child that the most important and ubiquitous things in this world, no one has any idea who created them. Sure, you can look that information up, but those inventors, thinkers, and leaders' names are not in common parlance. I am an engineer. I build things that do not fail. There is code I wrote over a decade ago that still runs. Colleagues at those companies will tell me, it has been running all this time. No failures or anything. I build quiet things that just work, things that neither attract nor repel. To me, a perfect thing is one that seems like it was created by no one. Story 21. To be part of the Roman Empire. Just kidding. As for all the vulnerability issues mentioned elsewhere, I am lucky. My wife is the most caring and empowering person I know. I have never felt ashamed to show any emotion in front of her. She always tells me, I am not going anywhere. You were stuck with me, bud. Story 22. Vonnegut. Okay, now let's have some fun. Let's talk about sex. Let's talk about women. Freud said he didn't know what women wanted. I know what women want. They want a whole lot of people to talk to. What do they want to talk about? They want to talk about everything. What do men want? They want a lot of pals, and they wish people wouldn't get so mad at them. Why are so many people getting divorced today? It's because most of us don't have extended families anymore. It used to be that when a man and a woman got married, the bride got a lot more people to talk to about everything. The groom got a lot more pals to tell dumb jokes to. A few Americans, but very few still have extended families. The Navajos, the Kennedys. But most of us, if we get married nowadays, are just one more person for the other person. The groom gets one more pal, but it's a woman. The woman gets one more person to talk to about everything, but it's a man. When a couple has an argument, they may think it's about money or power or sex or how to raise the kids or whatever. What they're really saying to each other, though without realizing it, is this: you are not enough people. I met a man in Nigeria one time, an Igbo who has 600 relatives he knew quite well. His wife had just had a baby, the best possible news in any extended family. They were going to take it to meet all its relatives, Ebos of all ages and sizes and shapes. It would even meet other babies, cousins not much older than it was. Everybody who was big enough and steady enough was going to get to hold it, cuddle it, gurgle to it, and say how pretty it was or handsome. Wouldn't you have loved to be that baby? Story 23. We do not need a thank you for doing the chores, but we also do not need to be criticized the one time we forget. Story 24. Personally, I want to be understood and loved, and be able to trust that she is going to be there through thick and thin. Even though most of the time we just endure, we are human too. Last but not least, most men's love language is physical. Story 25. Right now, I want a soft and tasty honey cake. The best thing Russians have ever created. It is the greatest cake humanity has ever made. And I am on a diet. Story 26. I've read many comments and can relate to each one. We all deeply desire a partner who truly cares for us and listens without judgment. I have had this enormous need my entire life, especially because I grew up without a mother and only with a very harsh father. I met my girlfriend a few months ago, and she fulfills all of these needs. She holds my hand, listens to me, hugs me, compliments me, and encourages me. I have never felt so loved and accepted before. I have even had the courage to share my most embarrassing thoughts and admit to shameful emotions. She has met this with love and respect and sees it as a positive sign that I am able to be so honest about myself and my feelings. I thought I never could and had learned over the years to not express myself. I am not trying to boast. I am just saying that there are people out there who can genuinely care for you. Never lower your standards. You are all worth the very best and deserve genuine and deep love. The first step is always to figure out who you are, accept that person, and then decide who you want to be. Work toward becoming that person every day with small steps. Someday, the right person will show up, and you will both be ready for each other. You will never find this person and make it work unless you know who you are and also know that you can be this person for them. Story 27. Some activities that women commonly enjoy are not seen as masculine and are therefore discouraged. Spa treatments, massages, fruity drinks, and flowers are all great. Story 28. We want women to respect us and stop treating us like we do not matter. Many of them are like this, but when men do not respect them and treat them badly, they scream, cry, and call us toxic. Story 29. I am sure you just need some space sometimes. Stay home alone, play a video game, relax in peace. That is why I do not live with my boyfriend, for the sake of the health of our relationship. I also need something like that in my own way from time to time. Story 30. To be truly open and vulnerable with my emotions, I have no true outlet for that. Story 31. Someone to tell us that everything is going to be okay, that it is not too late, that we are doing a good job, and that they are proud of us. Story 32. I do not know if it is the male perspective, a new generation relationship with dating applications and phones, or just me, but I want to be considered and thought of, to exist in people's minds when I am out of sight. I am tired of having only 2 friends and having to pursue every other interaction with people I think want to be friends or more. Story 33. I just want to be able to hang out with my friends and not feel guilty for not working around the house or spending time with my significant other. Story 34. To be desired. All those "no woman wants to have sex with me" rants boil down to this: men can buy access to sex, but not to desire. Story 35. Acknowledgement occurs when I do things for people instead of it being expected, resulting in receiving more effort in return. Story 36. To be honest, we know that we need to be strong and provide safety. But sometimes we also want to be vulnerable, to receive compliments on random things, to feel loved, or maybe get some random flirty texts to feel good. We also want to be a child again in front of our special ones. However, I guess this is just too much to expect in this generation. Story 37. I'm not sure about the never admit part, but I think many of the answers here boil down to just being given the basic considerations that we are expected to provide. Women have an entire list of non-negotiables they expect from men, whether they communicate them or not, while pathologizing any kind of expectation placed upon them in return. It would be nice to feel like there was some kind of rough parody. Story 38. Most men want to feel truly needed and appreciated, like they are providing something meaningful, whether it is support, protection, or just being someone their partner can count on. What they rarely admit is that they crave emotional safety just as much as anyone else, a space where they can be vulnerable without being judged or seen as weak. It is not about being macho all the time. It is about wanting to matter deeply to someone, even if they do not know how to say it out loud. Story 39. One good, thoughtful gift. I listen all year long and take notes on my iPhone if I hear a hint of something. Then, before a gift-giving holiday, I sit down and put together a gift bundle of big or small items mentioned throughout the year. Last Christmas, I took my girlfriend to Europe for 2 weeks. I bought her $1,500 in presents that she really wanted. I bought us a tree, all the decorations, and spent a whole day decorating it while baking cookies and listening to Christmas music. She researched tech gadgets that men like and bought me some terrible, junky item that didn't work. All I wanted was a popcorn tin. I talked about it for a month and said it was the only thing I wanted, maybe socks too. She said none were available. So I went online, bought every version of popcorn tins available in the country, and had them shipped to my house daily until New Year's. Not once have I ever received a thoughtful gift from a woman. Story 40. I want to be wanted, desired, and appreciated too. I am tired of being treated as if my worth is only what I can provide. I am more than a paycheck, a partner, a handyman, and a mechanic. Story 41. To hear compliments after a job well done is uplifting. I know it is my responsibility to always do a great job, but receiving kind words truly lifts the spirits. Story 42. Sometimes I feel a huge pain inside, but even with so much pain and hurt, I cannot talk to someone and just let time pass. It is not good for me or for everyone who feels that way. However, as men, it is sometimes hard to find someone to talk to about our troubles. Story 43. Story 44. To feel like people care about me. I know it is unhealthy to bottle up my feelings, but admitting just how lonely I am feels incredibly lame and cliché, so I just do not. And I would feel like I was just sharing my trauma with anyone who would listen. Story 45. I want to stop being told to talk to someone or to express my emotions when every time I have tried, I have been shown that what I feel does not matter or has been used against me later. Story 46. That one special girl forever. Many men do this, but I and many of my friends always needed validation and wanted to seem cool, that we can get many women and that makes us better. Even though we just want to go home to that one special girl and be the small spoon. Now, in my early 30s, it has affected my emotional maturity. I am working on it. Story 47. I know it would not be practical or economically feasible to buy a complete forge setup, learn how to use it, and then go on expeditions to find meteorites that I can forge into a sword and quench it in a vat of blood. I try not to think about it too often, but it is hard not to sometimes. Story 48. Based on my experience as a woman who is married to a man who is kind, cuddles, reassurance, to be the little spoon sometimes, alone time, the briefest phone calls you can manage, help, compliments when sincere. Story 49. I want to work because I want to, not because I have to. I want to get over this hang-up I have had for over a decade because my ex cheated on me. And now I am not entirely sure I can trust the next woman in my life. I just want to cuddle and watch television. Sometimes I want to be the little spoon. I want to be happy again. Story 50. To be wanted, not needed, to feel the touch of a partner. Not being the one who has to do the touching and not receiving anything in return. To understand that sometimes we need time alone, even if it is only an hour. If we say no to something, it is not because we do not want to be with you, but because we just need our own space sometimes. Story 51. To build on what others have said, it is simply to be seen, wanted, and appreciated for being ourselves, not just for what we can do for others. In terms of friendship, I want to be loved for being me first, not because of making people laugh, listening to their problems, or doing things for them. I do all these things out of the love I have for people. Luckily, I had a friend who was more like a brother and loved me truly as a brother until his dying breath at 42, almost 3 years ago from pancreatic cancer. In terms of a relationship, it is much the same but on a deeper level. As a man, I understand that to some extent all relationships are transactional. As a straight man, when I love a woman, everything is great, and naturally, I have a very high sex drive. It is not just because I am a man with testosterone that causes these desires. It is also because that is how I build deeper connections, bonding, and receive love with the woman I am with. In the beginning, the woman knows and understands this. They are all into it until later they are not. They either pull back or stop. Everything after that becomes lifeless, soulless, and transactional, making men like myself feel low, unloved, unseen, and unappreciated for the same reasons I mentioned above. In these cases, the woman may do things just to do it, seeing it only as a physical act to placate the man. It is not, and it does not work. I want to be seen, loved, and desired by my wife. I never want her to view sex simply as a physical duty to satisfy a physical need, as it is much greater than that. As men, we notice when women do this and get shamed for speaking out against it. What is wrong with wanting someone to see you and desire you the same way you desire them? What is wrong with wanting intimacy to be viewed as a mutually desired experience? Anyway, that is just my perspective. Story 52. Time to myself is what I want right now. I desperately miss it. I will never admit this in real life, but it is exhausting putting everyone else first. I know it is what you are supposed to do as a man, but at some point you are pouring from an empty cup and still have to find something to pour out of it. Story 53. I actually just had this conversation on Father's Day with some of my friends. We agreed that what every man wants for Father's Day is for their wife or girlfriend and kids to let them sleep in for an hour or two and wake up in a bed without any kids climbing all over them. Then he wants to get up, hang out, have no to-do list, not be reminded of any tasks to be completed on a day that is not Father's Day, and have nothing planned other than relaxing with his family and eating some good food. At some point that day, he wants to spend a couple of hours participating in one of his neglected hobbies and, at some point, have intimacy with the woman he loves. However, we also agreed that no man will actually say this out loud because it would start with, "So you want us to just leave you alone because you don't want to spend time with us? Then lay around the house all day doing nothing until you slip away to the garage or the lake or wherever. And I'm supposed to be your 1950s housewife, cooking all your meals, handling the house chores and kids, while also finding energy to satisfy your desires whenever you decide you're ready to spend time with your family. I planned a whole day and you're not even grateful. All you want to do is lay around. Since we don't want to feel lazy or unappreciated on the one day that is supposed to be about fathers, we're going to smile as we wake up to being jumped on by kids and a breakfast that your toddler probably sneezed on. Then be reminded by your significant other that while she doesn't expect it to be done today, you do have tasks on your honey-do list. Actually, if you could just do one task today because she promises it will be quick, by that she means about an hour, that would be great. Then go out to do something your wife thinks is fun, like a picnic, even though it's 90 degrees outside and you can't have a beer because she doesn't want you drinking in front of the kids. Or take the kids fishing because you like fishing, but you won't actually fish because you'll be too busy baiting the kids' hooks, setting everything up, and getting hooks out of trees to ever cast your own pole. Also, you can go home at the end of the day as sunburned and exhausted as you would have been if you'd just gone to work. Put the kids to bed, probably fall asleep in a toddler bed at some point, wake up half an hour later with a crick in your neck because it is a toddler bed, then sneak back into your own bed, start kissing her neck, and be told she's too tired from all she put into giving you your day. You then roll over and go to sleep, not mentioning that you're exhausted too and probably didn't want to do any of that. But you don't say it because you're not a jerk and you love your wife and put her happiness of feeling like she gave you a great day above your own happiness of actually having a great day. Because that's what heroes do. Story 54, we want money because that's how we attract a partner. People often don't admit this because it can upset others. I understand why. It can make them feel uncomfortable. However, the reality is that children require significant resources, and pregnancy is often a possibility. I knew a man whose partner became pregnant despite using a condom, and her tubes were tied. Dave Chappelle said, "If a man could be with a woman in a cardboard box, he wouldn't buy a house." The point is, this is why greed will never disappear. Most people do not want to be alone. It is a cold and miserable existence. Story 55. To feel like we truly matter, not just when it is convenient, but also to acknowledge that we struggle with life. We may not say it out loud, of course, but understanding is paramount. Story 56. Acceptance. We are constantly being judged and punished. If you cannot be constructive and supportive, please leave. Story 57. Deep down, sometimes we just want to be the Grogu to the Mandalorian. We are always the ones trying to find the way, but sometimes in life we would like the woman to tell us what the way is and wear the helmet. We cannot openly admit this because it might seem weak and soft. Perhaps this is just how it is. Story 58. I'm a woman, but I think men are usually pretty straightforward and mean what they say. We shouldn't read too much into small things. That said, I don't think men receive a lot of gentle love in life. They often don't get many compliments or appreciation, and that is something we should all make a big effort to do. Men do a lot for us, work very hard, and don't get enough appreciation. That needs to change. Story 59. A classic romantic love story. We grow up watching Disney movies and want to be the gentleman who saves the princess. Then we grow up and realize that nice guys do indeed finish last. Story 60. I'm pretty simple. To be left alone for a week straight minimum. As in, zero communication or contact. I love my family deeply, but need a break every now and then. When I don't get that time, the desire to be free builds up mentally, currently at a week of bank time thinking that would be plenty. A clean, spotless, minimalist house. To be understood for wanting these things. To be understood in general. A friend or two might help, but not a constant pressure to hang out or do something. Peace for all innocent children, women, and men with no strings attached. No more wars. Story 61. We want people to stop pretending we do not clearly say what we want all the time. We communicate constantly until we learn no one cares. Story 62. To not be treated as if all I want is sex, or sex being the best thing that could ever happen to me in my entire life. I imagine myself treating my girlfriend the same way during her birthday or on a holiday. Hey babe, it's your birthday and I know you love going to your favorite restaurant, but instead I got this for you. Why are you upset? I spent an hour preparing this for you. Story 63. My last situationship noticed when I started biting my nails and asked if I was anxious. I think I fell in love. To clarify, it is just to be noticed for the small things. Story 64. I wish I could find someone who is as excited to see me as I am to see them. Someone who has a genuine warmth about them. Someone who would tell me they are proud of me, for anything. I do not think any former girlfriend or my ex-wife ever told me they were proud of me for any accomplishment I achieved in life. Story 65. To be wanted. Even in my past relationships and my most recent ex, I know they cared about me, but just feeling wanted would be nice. I do not know how to explain it, so I am sorry, but I am sure men will understand. Story 66. Perspective varies, but personally, I want to be the best in whatever I do. Business, fitness, diet, knowledge, basketball, anything. Until I achieve that, I don't feel complete and feel hollow inside. I may be smiling, but that desire burns within. Story 67. 1. Acknowledgement and recognition. 2. Appreciation and gratitude. 3. Encouragement and support. 4. Consistency and stability. 5. Quiet and rest. Story 68. Flowers, a card, a hug with our heads resting on the shoulder, a compliment on our outfit, our necks kissed, being caressed or tickled. Story 69. Men want to be cared for too, not just needed but genuinely loved. Most will not admit how much they want to feel emotionally safe. Story 70. Many of us older men were taught to suppress our emotions. Even at my father's wake, my mother told me not to cry because I was a man now. Yet, there is nothing like releasing those feelings. The last time I broke down and cried was when my cat died. It was a private moment in the shower, and it was glorious. Felt like years of emotions were released. Story 71. I can only speak for myself. I just want peace and quiet. I do not understand why that is so hard to get. Story 72. For me, at least, to be given a compliment occasionally. To be asked if I am okay or want to talk about it without being told to get it together because I am a man or belittled for going through difficulties. To be loved, wanted, held, and to be enough for someone, to have a purpose in life. Story 73. At this point, I want to have a defined place in society that does not seem like it will disappear if I miss one appointment. Story 74. Simplicity, not materialistic. We want to be happy, laugh, be strong, do interesting things, and feel safe enough to be playful with the ones we love, while still being able to maintain our strength and composure. Story 75. Looking at the comments, I thought I was the only one who felt that way. I used to struggle with the need for external validation or approval. It feels validating to know there are others in the same situation. Story 76. Not being told to man up or show vulnerability. First is just fodder for trauma, and second is impossible without a sense of safety. With trust, it slowly happens. No need to force it. Never admit that a pretty girl is pretty and definitely someone I would like to talk to. But unfortunately, I may never tell her that I find her attractive or even approach her without reason. Everything has a time and place. If I am dating, yes. If I am at work or a family function, no. I am someone who loves deep, private conversations. I am not the kind that asks out in public. I prefer private conversations without eavesdroppers. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.